Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of TA Tech Unboxed, the podcast and videocast is chatting to the people behind the tools that the HR and TA communities use every day. If you're listening to this, if you come check out our YouTube channel, we'll be housing a demo of every guest. Our aim is to try and be the biggest repository of tools in the TA and HR space in the world. If you come check that out, drop us a subscribe. I'm Chris Haslam. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Darren Bush. Mr. Darren Bush, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, buddy. Good, thanks. Yeah, excited about this episode coming up.
I mean, chaos has ensued. Chaos has ensued in the attempt to try and make it a great show for everybody. And I'm super excited. It is about AI. You are right.
It is AI, automation, and the end of work as we know it.
End of work.
Yeah.
Wow. In what sense?
Well, jobs to be eliminated.
Why do you seem to know more about this than I do?
All of us we should be like going traveling, enjoying our life, spending time with family.
And who do we have on today's show, Darren?
Today, Chris, we've got two very special guests. They're making waves in the talent acquisition and recruitment industry. We have Reiner and Stan from Scotty AI. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome, chaps. How are we?
Really well, thank you. What about you guys?
Very good. Very good.
No, excited to hear, to find out a little bit about yourselves, your backgrounds, and also about what you're building. So first, probably best place to start is actually about obviously we will talk about Scotty AI and what you do, but how did you? Yeah, what are both your journeys?
Just to remember, time is on, everybody. We're going.
All right, I'll keep it quick. I've been in this industry pretty much my whole career. Fell into it as a 20-year-old. I'm 37 and a half now, so do the math. I started on the agency side, as many of us. 8 years I spent working for a big multi-brand conglomerate called USG, who were later bought by RGF, who I still hold dearly because they're a customer now. And somewhere in year 6, 7, I noticed that the people that we were placing were being replaced by robots, and the processes that we were deriving a margin from were being replaced by algorithms. So I raised my hand and said, I got to do something with this. And thankfully, the CEO at that time allowed me to dive into tech. That's what created a pathway for me to join this company called Vonq, VONQ. Many of them know him. I was part of the first ever ATS integration. They recently celebrated their 100th. They're the white label job advertising, market leader globally right now. And that space and that specific job got me in touch with another awesome business called Smart Recruiters. I think I was number 200 there, and went on a really exciting journey with them. First managing their partnerships in EMEA, and then later globally. And as part of that job, I always explored categories I thought were inspiring that could make a difference in our space. And conversational AI was one of them, automation. And that got me in touch with Scotty. That was 2 years ago. If you check my LinkedIn, there's a pretty interesting post that I wrote that says the bots are coming and how we should prepare for them. And then, when last November the opportunity arose to actually join this business, I did, and I wrote a post that the bots are here, and I'm here to help them a hand. So that's my.
Nice. You saw it coming. You saw it coming. 2 posts either side. And hi, Reiner. How are you doing? What about you? Give us a little intro up to Scotty.
Oh, in the world. No, some time ago, I started doing digital things. Quite a while ago already, and that has brought me from 2 different startups or companies. One more in game servers, voice stuff, like totally unrelated. One experimental economics, behavioral economics, totally unrelated. And at some point, I wanted to get into AI more than I already was. I had a lot of hobby stuff going on and smaller projects, or freelance related things. And then there was an opportunity to join a product vendor. They're called IPsoft. They're called Amelia Inc. now. Really big in ITSM, but also in just in conversational AI. And there I got a taste of global projects with global corporations, which was exhilarating. And at that point, I decided I wanted to do more. Switched reasonably quickly to a very large system integrator, started and built their AI competence center. Launching customers was a very large Middle Eastern, launching client there. Launching client was a very large Middle Eastern airline, but also some global life insurance and those kind of businesses. And while I said AI before, I've always stuck in the space of conversational AI, like where I thought, what's the coolest interface humans have? And, there's opinions about this, but it's language. Spoken, heard. Language is for me is the epitome of, it gets discredited a lot because it's so slow or it's so low bandwidth. But the thing is, it's so clear, so out of the box. So I thought I want to continue Shoulders of Giants, and for me it was building a product, building a platform, engaging with people like yourself, and then also Stan, where basically the next day is always better than the last day. And then I started Scotty AI. A lot of details in the middle, but
brings us up to scratch. Okay, nice. I like it. You guys are like problem solving royalty, right? We've got up to the point. Now I know today's show we're going to run this a little bit differently, because we're going to hand over to you guys for a bit, which is going to frame, I think, the rest of the show today before we get to a couple of questions at the end, of course. But you guys have put something together for us, right? That you wanted to do live on call. So, we haven't done this yet, but we're going to leave Unboxed in your capable hands for the next 10 minutes. Oh. And I'm going to be taking some notes, and we're going to come at you after the presentation, because I understand I missed the prep call for this, guys, by the way. Darren took it. I understand this is end of the world. This is the end of the world kind of stuff. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to get all doomy gloomy, but we are predicting the end of the world. So on that, I'll just share my.
There's a pot of gold at the end of it, though.
My
end in this world. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm predicting as well. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess
it's the end of the world as we know it. It's going to be different, but it's still going to be here. Let's just make that clear. It's still going to be a world.
Well, you've spoiled it. You've spoiled it. Yeah, sure. At the end, we'll probably still be here, but I think our world will look a lot different, because AI is replacing human labor, not just in our sector, across every single industry vertical. Robots are replacing physical labor, which will likely go last, and AI is very, very swiftly replacing knowledge work. And that's the business we're in. White collar automation, as Reiner likes to call it. And if there's one particular niche where we think that we can make a huge impact very swiftly, it's the recruitment industry. I predict that by 2028, most sourcers, screeners, interviewers, coordinators, admins, schedulers, and this is the vast majority of our industry, those roles will not just only be replaced by AI, they will be gone forever. But is that a bad thing? I think not. Hiring is broken at the core. Employers are saying they can't find the talent they need, and talented people are saying they can't find a job. And the reason for it, in my perspective, is actually us. It's the recruitment industry. It's you guys. It's the internal recruiters. It's the vendors. It's all of us. We're creating massive friction in the middle, because essentially since the invention of recruitment, mostly by armies, centuries ago, not much has changed in how we're actually recruiting. And what's also interesting, quite recently, you've probably seen LinkedIn, there were quite a few hiring freezes, layoffs in the recruitment industry, and some of our most senior leaders, people that I respect very, very much as recruitment professionals, went through the process of trying to find another job, and even they were completely stunned by how bad the quality on average was. And that's why there are a few truth bombs that I just have to honestly share about what I've experienced in these almost 20 years I've been in this business, is that neither hiring managers or job seekers really want to talk to us. They see us as a necessary evil standing between them and making a hire or landing a new gig. they're being nice to us because they want us to prioritize them. They want us to prioritize them over other hiring managers. They want us to prioritize them over other candidates. But please, at a party where you don't know that many people, say that you're considering a switch into recruitment, or that your children are, graduating and thinking about joining the recruitment industry, and just ask people openly, like, have you ever had experience with a recruiter, and what do you think about that move? And then see how people respond if you want to hear the honest reaction. And when those people, when they find a better, faster, cheaper alternative, when that comes along, they will quickly move over. And we believe that alternative is AI. I think by putting AI in the middle, we can cut out very much of the entire middle function, because AI is very quickly moving to a position where it not only is a faster, cheaper solution, but actually also much, much, much better experience. And to put the numbers into practice, let me talk a little bit about Young Capital. This is an old case. Our technology is far, far more ahead than it was in those days. But during COVID, you might remember it, a lot of people had vaccines administered. So Young Capital, a big RPO, 1,600 people across Germany and the Netherlands, were hired by the Dutch government, by the Dutch Health Service, to support them with that. And in the same time frame that their entire sourcing team, we're talking about hundreds of people, managed to contact 1,000 people and place a sad 40% of them. Although that 4% conversion ratio is pretty average for RPOs and staffing businesses or high volume hiring companies. Our AI contacted 25,000 people and placed 5,250 of them. And that was at a conversion ratio of 21%. I won't tell you what Young Capital was making per placement, but I can tell you that this entire use case we supported under 50 grand, right? So do the math. Also in terms of business case, it obliterates anything that human labor can compete against.
I'm just getting a calculator out.
So who the heck is Scotty? We're essentially what we like to call AI agent orchestration platform. At any given time, there are multiple AI agents operating on it to perform various tasks that can speed up and improve the hiring process and everyone's experience that's involved with it. We're completely system of records agnostic. We actually integrate with all of them: your ERP, your ATS, your CRM, your HCM, your TMP, your TMS, your HRIS, your CMS for all the employer brand aficionados, as I mentioned here. But we will integrate with all of that through the system that we've built called Atlas. Our engineers can pick names. It's Advanced Talent Lifecycle Automation System. What it really does, it lives like an exoskeleton across around all of those systems, because the sad thing about all of those systems is that they've been architectured for humans. And that creates massive bottlenecks if you run it alongside an AI. So what Atlas can do, it can actually read, write, delete data in the system, trigger activities that allow for far smoother, faster automation than humans could ever do. It removes the need to have a human to click a button or to type something or drag and drop a candidate record from one piece in a Kanban board to another. Because think about it, the only reason the whole freaking Kanban board exists is to help our very feeble minds deal with things like where people are in the journey. But AI looks at this sort of stuff in a far more abstract manner that goes way beyond the level of detail that we can look at where a human sits in the journey, and it can take action way more swiftly with far less error, making way more accurate prediction than a human could ever do.
What you see in there is, for instance, the mismatch between screening questions, very often used in an ATS, and selection criteria. Screening questions are to elicit selection criteria. But the thing is, once they are entered into the ATS is very often just a fancy presentation of those criteria. But what is happening with that data once available depends very, very much on who is looking at it. And AI looks at this very differently, and that's where this comes from. So we did an automation first system that will allow us to bridge a couple of shortcomings, not only of like one or two of the platforms we're integrating with, of most of them, because most of them really didn't seem to care about the quality, the follow-up, and the way of working that the data they actually have implies, and that's what we made it.
Yeah, so you're saying, in theory, at the moment we have like data capture systems, but what Scotty AI is doing is it's capturing that data and it's using that data. I mean, there's screening calls,
straight away.
Yeah, think about it this way. Think about it this way. Humans are incredibly inefficient in their communication. They put data everywhere across all of these systems. They put the same thing in different fields, or they say the same thing but they mean something different, or they say different things but they mean the same thing actually. For example, a candidate was pretty good. An American means something very different compared to a British person, or quite all right, etc. And our AI will take that data out of all of the systems and structure it, and then take action way more swiftly, way more effectively accordingly, showcasing much more empathy or removing bias and that sort of stuff. All these human issues that we keep bumping up against as recruitment professionals. Besides that, we're completely communication channel agnostic. So whether it's Google Teams, Chat, Lime, WeChat, Telegram, Insta, Snap, TikTok, anywhere where you can chat with a candidate or some kind of homegrown bot on your career page, we can live inside of it. We're completely telecom infrastructure agnostic. So you can have Verizon in the US, you can have Movistar in Spain, you can have Orange in France, you can have EE in Britain, you have Deutsche Telekom in Germany. I mean, I can go on. We'll just incorporate that phone provider, and we can communicate on any device in voice and text. So in theory, you can be on your run and being pre-screened by an AI on your smartwatch, and have your interview scheduled before you're home back from your
challenge accepted.
Yeah, you can work on your diet and on your career progression at the same time, right? And to explain why this is also much more effective, our platform allows you to do this, have 1 million conversations at the same time, and that's pure cloud consumption. As we scale, we'll just buy more cloud consumption, and we can do 5 million, 50 million, 500 million, 5 billion conversations at the same time, in theory, in 140 languages. But when I say 140 languages, you can choose the tone of voice, the personality, the gender. We do like 6 dialects of Chinese. We do freaking 16 dialects of Arabic. And I recently had a hospitality company in Australia that recruits a lot of people from Nepal. And lo and behold, we support Nepalese as well. But I think one of the other really cool things that we can do, unlike many of the ChatGPT infused front ends, conversational point solutions that do one different thing in the journey, we can put up really strong guardrails, making sure that AI definitely doesn't do X, and that's quite powerful. And through it, just to stay on time, we can essentially support the entire hiring journey and employee life cycle, which I'll show you in a minute, right? We'll show you a cool piece of this. But if an ERP flags that you need 100 more hires across 5 different locations, 20 each, the HCM approves it, the ATS publishes it. Now Scotty can automatically start sourcing the internal ATS database, but let's say you have a subscription on an external database, we can source those as well. Let's say you can't find any people there, then we can trigger an advertising workflow through your job marketing engine, whichever one it is. Then within the minute that we get applications, we can respond to those applications by calling or texting a candidate on their cell phone. The ones that respond, we can instantly start pre-screening. We can schedule interviews, send offers, make hires. We're 24/7 onboarding buddy. Workforce management is huge, like shift changes or planning or absentee management, where you can just WhatsApp or bot, even if it's at 3 p.m. at night, I'm feeling sick, I won't come in tomorrow, and our bot will at an appropriate time start sourcing the entire flex pool to find someone to get there. Internal mobility, we can actually help people find a buddy internally, a new career path. If we have, again, the data that we can read, that we can coach, and offboarding. Instead of doing exit interviews only with your A players, you can do it with everyone. And because we are able to do continuous feedback loops, NPS tracking, sentiment tracking, we can also improve this continuously with some really fancy stuff that we can do with Microsoft, which I'll show you in a bit as well. But anyway, what this ushers in is this new world might be ending, but the new one is just beginning. And the new one that's beginning, what I'm hoping that we'll be able to achieve is actually live up to our promise to our two main stakeholders that we as an industry are actually set up to serve, that we derive our entire income and value from. And that's the job seeker on the other end, as well as the employee. Like if the employee is looking for a different job, that's a job seeker as well. And on the other hand, these employers, and then specifically the hiring managers and the teams that these job seekers are to be matched with and working with. And then I think that's a very noble thing to do, despite that it will very, very likely mean that it will also destroy a lot of the current processes and a lot of the current jobs in those processes that are really just upholding the status quo rather than improving.
Nice. I like the way you frame the busted argument, because I don't know about you, Darren, but I agree with you that the system is definitely not right. There is a lot of friction in it, and a lot of challenge. There's a lot of challenges in getting it right, and not everyone. And there's no benchmark for right and wrong either. So that causes us all to think I'm right and you're wrong. There's Darren's business that's got thousands of people. There's mine that's a startup. We've all got different challenges. So I agree that there isn't one evolutionary path for a TA team. So I'm kind of with you on the argument there, Darren. I want to unpick a little bit of that before we go into the examples that you've prepared for us. Yeah. Have you got any questions on that bit, Darren? Like the framing, the recruiting is dead thing.
No, I mean, I do, but we'll come to it.
Okay, nice. I think I got 50,000 down to £9.50 or higher there. Is that right?
I think that was that. Yeah, something
50,000 pounds to 5,000 hires is £9.50 or higher. I mean, I'm not allowed to swear. I'm not allowed to swear, but I mean, that
was one of the questions I probably had actually. It was around the way you're able to find people quicker, faster, and cheaper. So, are we eventually in 3 to 5 years time, we started seeing a race not to the bottom, maybe to the bottom, but to definitely margins be eroded for some of these companies in the middle?
Absolutely, man. One of our biggest customer groups are staffing agencies, which sounds contradictory, but the way I present to them is that I talk a lot about the innovator's dilemma, which was coined by Clayton Christensen more than 30 years ago. A lot of people think when they talk about the Kodak moment is that Kodak missed tech innovation, but that's actually not true. These guys invented the first digital camera in 1972. Then they had a very much optimized model in 1991, and they had 85% market leadership. Right? They could have stayed there. But the reason that they failed is that they didn't double down on these technologies because they were making too much damn money off the back of their physical film. They actually
money blindness, isn't it?
They acquired a company called Ophoto 10 years before Instagram was even an idea, which is a photo sharing company, and they called it Kodak Photo Share or something. I don't even know, but they didn't double down on it. And then this small company, created somewhere in a garage, just obliterated their entire model. And at the very same way, right now the RPO model and the staffing agency model is under that same exact pressure, because you can see that someone without any resources using Scotty AI can unlock the power of a global sourcing conglomerate, right? We can do, again, 500,000 calls in 140 languages. So you by yourself have the same sourcing power as all of Randstad, all of Manpower, all of Adecco, all of RGF, all of AMS, all of Cielo, all of Wilson, all of you have
put together
in a box. In a box.
Put together.
Horizontally scalable.
That's horizontally scalable.
You don't need it. It sleeps. It doesn't cost you anything.
No cure, no pay.
This is not a pitch, so we're not going to pitch.
No, yeah, we don't want to go into that. But the interesting thing is where these in-house teams are contracting RPOs, and they have literal, $6 to $10 million tickets where we can come in and say we can do that for $200,000. That becomes an extremely compelling argument for some of these RPOs and staffing business to transform. So actually, some of our biggest customers we've won through RPOs and staffing agencies reselling us. And in the most extreme case, I'll digress a little bit, but we had one staffing agency that was placing 300 people in contact centers because over 1 million households in the Netherlands have to schedule appointments to put new fiber into the ground in their neighborhoods. and we essentially automated the entire contact center at a fraction of the cost, but we're splitting the revenue.
Why not?
Agency.
Why not automate the contact center rather than automate the hiring of the contact center?
That's exactly what I said. So the staffing agency that used to place 300 people there sold our AI, and now those 300 people are 20 people. Their revenue went down incredibly by millions a year, but the margin that deriving from our software is 100% margin because we built the product, we implemented, we run the whole show. All they did is put it there, and it's just running forever and making cash. So that transformation of moving from staffing, I think these staffing businesses can secure their continuity as an intermediary between the demand for work and the supply for work by starting to stop, putting people into those places.
I agree.
But AI into those places, because work in the future will be mainly automated. You want to remain an intermediary, you gotta connect automation to the amount of labor instead of actual people.
Yeah,
that's a few more years.
How many years are we talking, by the way? When's this
I think very few. I think like contact center roles. The CEO of the biggest contact center company in the Netherlands actually said that he thinks the next 3 to 6 months, most human labor in those roles will be automated, because all the dumb bots. I won't mention names, but we know who the dumb bots in our industry are. The ones that can't reschedule, can't do changes, can't go back, you have the pre-programmed answers in the decision tree, if this and that. The dumb bots are done for. These are going out. But now that the bots are very quickly starting to showcase better experience, better conversational experience, but more human experience, more empathy. I think he's very ambitious. But I think, again, like 5 years, 6 years, these jobs will be gone.
Because that is a similar role, right, as the role set you talked about. And I guess that's a really great question for two recruiters sitting in the room who are currently, cacking ourselves at the future of what we do. In that seat of companies that need an RPO, like what do you see though, the recruiters that are needed? What are you seeing the role of those individuals? Because I assume all the candidates are sitting there. The AI is not working directly with the hiring manager, right? So what do you see the role as of a recruiter a year from now? Reiner's like, get rid of him.
No. Why not? Why not have the hiring manager talk with a business function, if it's a person or not? It doesn't really matter, does it? If it's a results-based thing, and the business says like, oh, so you want to hire a field engineer, and that field engineer has this and that profile, yeah, and also I would like him to be a friendly guy. How do you identify friendly? Yeah, he should be able to should be single and go out every Thursday with us or something like this, right? A human could pick that up. A machine could pick that up.
So eventually, hiring manager just says, "I have demand," and then there's, I don't know, maybe just a final stage. Like that's it. That's the hiring process. Your vision of it.
We already know this is not the final vision. We already do that. The hiring manager in Microsoft Teams can tell Scotty, who will become a Microsoft Teams user, hey, you know what? I need 20 more people by Friday. Scotty says, I'm on it. Again, in Microsoft Teams, it starts sourcing the database. It calls 2,000 people at the same time, finds them, pre-screens them, selects them, goes back to the hiring manager. Great, got him. 15 minutes
Imagine later. The phone bill.
This is the phone bill. This is not the future. Right?
Yeah, but this is also
different. Yeah,
the future is more connectivity between these things.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So right now, you have everything, and that's what we try to solve with Atlas again. And this is not an Atlas pitch, but what we try to solve is to connect things that have been connected by protein computers, right, or by task lists people have on their on their desk or so.
He means humans.
Yeah, and
without saying it,
that wasn't obvious. So sorry. No, but the issue there is again that so many things are so disconnected, right? So there's silos, and everyone, nobody works together, but they all go to work, right? And it's this, if you sit in one silo, you just throw stuff over the fence and hope there's somebody catching there. And we are slowly it sounds a bit creepy maybe, but a land and expand type of scheme where we think, okay, so if we can source you, we can also screen you, and if we can screen you, we can also schedule you.
Guide them
If we
through a
schedule
process.
you, we can also hire you. Or
we could do the interviews for you, like yes. I mean, because they should be like interview. I was thinking this the other day. I was chatting to, I don't know if it was a guest on here, Darren, but I was like, if interviews should be structured, every question should be asked with the same format, structure, vibe to get the best result out the other end. Actually, the human being is the bottleneck at all times. Forgive me for RPO that has a sourcing team at the moment that people purchase. But I agree with you that the human being element is causing issues.
Yeah, but it will also solve them in the short term until AI takes over, all of knowledge work and robots take all of physical work, and we are actually liberated from work, which I think is a very noble thing because we'll be able to develop ourselves spiritually, physically, socially,
or a small group of us will be billionaires, or
anyway,
a small group of.
Yeah, we'll see how it plans out. Let's give our fingers
you
crossed.
Guys, it'll be you guys.
Anyway, I want to answer your question because I do have a vision where RPOs and staffing professionals are going. I think they're evolving to becoming business consultants. I think the last ones left will be the ones that understand this beautiful Triforce. I'm a Zelda fan of people, process, and technology, and are able to relate that back into business outcomes. And then the ones that will fucking fly are the ones that can actually also sprinkle a little bit of experience improvement across of it for all of those stakeholders. And every professional RPO that I'm seeing right now that understands this future is actually moving there, because look at all of them. They're all becoming technology companies and they're all becoming consulting companies, because all the smart ones, they see like, oh wait, actually placing the people in the seat, technology is making that far easier. But every boardroom is asking us, well, how will that drive more business outcomes? Or how will, and we're not even talking about just placing the person. No, ship more products, deliver more packages, build more products, create a better experience for the end customer, like these type of things. And the recruitment professionals, again, think beyond their silo. I think very well put by Reiner. But if there's more general interest, those will be the ones in the best position to explain to the companies what they need to ask the bots to do, which is, by the way, the last thing that humans will have to do. Explain to the bots what our interests are, and then pray to God that the AI, AGI, and
I don't have a secret.
We'll be aligned with that. We're like, all right, we'll keep that in mind. That Chris.
Before it starts telling me,
then we'll do that.
We'll do that.
Telling me I'm wrong. Yeah, it starts telling me the experience part that I've taken control of is that the AI starts going, "Hey, Chris, dude, you're getting this wrong, mate. You maybe need to handle it like this. I won't tell the higher ups that I'm giving you this advice."
Yeah.
Train the AI.
What's your view though with a school of thought that thinks that humans still need to be involved in the just the interactions with individuals, or the human judgment itself still needs to play a part in terms of the hiring?
It's giving a hand, obviously, and human in the loop is a powerful concept also for the change that needs to happen with this. So I wouldn't consider that a faction. I would consider that a good practice of training the machines. There are cases where I would say it's bullshit. If you say like, hey Reiner, I need 10,000 pick and pack order workers across 10 shifts or 100 shifts then and there, and here is your job advertising campaign, and here they come in, and I want them to come to the intakes where we will lead 30 people around on the factory floor, something like this. I don't think it needs recruiters, anyone other than maybe somebody who lets them in and gives them a badge or something like this. But if you have a case where, hey, I have this decision to make here, and you asked me for this decisions, I should always come to you, dear bot trainer or something like this. And it's it's green or blue, and green or blue could be hey, you wanted me to hire for diversity, but I wasn't, I think I did hire a lot for diversity, and you should evaluate this role here or this rule here. That's a different story, right? The quality of the story can very easily change that a human might be necessary. Or, hey.
So the human part is mapping the journey for which AI is going to do the labor. That's what you're
Giving
talking
it
about,
goals.
right? It's like you showed a really good.
Giving it objectives, giving it goals for now, right?
Exactly.
Because AI will
saying
be
trigger
people
this
doing
here,
that.
trigger that there. If this, go to that. Like yeah. Okay.
But obviously, while this is happening, AI is looking at this, is learning about best practices, and becoming smarter and smarter. So ultimately, that role will also be replaced, right? But for now, that's a big role, especially for recruitment professionals at the higher level. But all the entry level jobs, unfortunately, those will disappear very quickly. And
asking for a friend. Where might I learn? Where might I go to learn how to train an AI?
You've got my meeting link.
I'm conscious. We've already talked that we're going to definitely have to get you guys back on the show at some point. I'm really interested to see this demo that you've planned for us. And we've got 5 minutes on the timer. We've got a little bit more time right now. I know you've got a hard stop. So let's have a go.
I'll show you something cool. So I'll have Scotty call me right now. We've set up this driver demo. It's an interesting, notorious role to hire for. Weird times that the drivers are available on, and usually on the road. So we thought this is one that we can use a lot, repeat a lot, and I'd like to show you 2 things with it. So I'll show you a few minutes or a bit longer, and I'll show you something quick with something spectacular. But anyway. I received a WhatsApp because I've actually added myself as a candidate in my old stomping grounds ATS, more recruiters. And that triggered, hey, I'm Scotty. I'm here to follow up with your application for the CDL driver position. I have a few questions for you to assess whether you're a match for this position or if there are any other options for you. Please let me know if you want to do this here or during a call. So I could also WhatsApp right now, but I want to show you guys the quality of this.
As with bingo, omni-channel, but the hardest will be voice.
Exactly. That's what it is. So there's a 1 minute scheduler that we have on these type of situations. I already replied that she'll call me back in a minute. And hey, Scott already calling me. So imagine applying on Indeed and having a call this quickly.
Geez, this person's eager.
Hello, Stanislaw. I'm Scotty, a virtual assistant. Don't worry, you can talk to me as normally as you do with a human. I'm following your application for the Class A CDL driver position. Before we start the screening process, you can ask me anything you want to know about the job or the employer. Do you have any questions about the job right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you can ask me what you want to know about the CDL driver demo position you applied for.
What's the salary for this role?
There is no information provided about the salary for this role in the given context. Do you have any other question for me?
How about other benefits?
Full-time team members for the CDL Class A driver position in Amsterdam receive medical, dental, and vision benefits starting from day 1. Other benefits include PTO, paid holidays, FSA, life insurance, limited STD, 401k, EAP, discount programs, tuition reimbursement, training, and professional development. Additionally, employees can join one of the employee resource groups that support the company's commitment to providing a diverse and inclusive work environment. All information is kept confidential according to EEO guidelines. Something else you want to know?
What would I be transporting?
Great, let's start. This job requests ability to perform simple mathematical calculations. Are you able to do that?
Yes, I am.
That's great. How many years of tractor-trailer driving experience do you have?
4 years.
Those 4 years include winter driving experience. If so, how many years?
Yes, they do. 6 years.
It's not possible that you have more winter driving experience than the overall experience years. Please repeat the winter driving experience years you have.
Oh, yes, of course. I meant 2 years.
Please tell me a bit more about how this experience looked like for you and what cargo you transported.
I mainly used to transport heavy machinery across 4 shifts, morning, day, evening, and night, across all seasons up in Minnesota.
Noted. Last question. Do you have a Class A CDL?
No, I don't.
Unfortunately, this is a requirement for this position, so you're not eligible for the call with a recruiter. But your profile is a match for the warehouse associate truck driver. Are you interested in this position?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad you're interested. Let's schedule an interview with one of our recruiters. Would you be available on the 14th of March at 9 o'clock?
No, that doesn't work for me.
Please tell me a day and time within the next 5 working days in which a recruiter can contact you to continue with this process.
How about Friday between 10 a.m. or 1 p.m.?
The closest slot is on the 15th of March at 1300. Does this work for you?
Yeah, that works perfectly.
Okay, great. You'll receive an invite for this appointment with all the details via mail. Have a nice day.
All right, so
nice.
Here, I show
I'm
you
not sure we could talk in there because just in case there's a
background. I think there was some background noise, and it thought someone said yes when I. But anyway,
yeah, there was Chris jumping in.
Maybe doesn't matter. What I showed you is all the answers weren't pre-written like in the old dead bots. This was data that we got from the ATS. But any other data that you want to put in there about the company, the team, the manager, Scotty can talk about them. I always refer to that scene in The Matrix when Neo is hooked up and he learns Kung Fu. We could teach Scotty Kung Fu at a level that she could talk about it as if she invented it. But that can also mean she can talk about your employer brand, your hiring manager. So very often bots are seen, because they used to be a compromise, worse candidate experience, but cheaper and faster, is only high volume blue collar. But actually, if you're hiring people for very sophisticated engineering projects at the particle accelerator in CERN or a really cool data science project.
Where does it get that from? Where does it get that information from?
The employers will upload it into again a piece of intellectual property that we've built, where Scotty will look it up and share it, but it could also be in any of those systems that we integrate with. So it can be in the HCM, the CMS. What I didn't show you, but it was pretty cool. If I would ask, well, what's it like to work with Chris, or who's the manager? Well, this and that person. It's going to say, I actually have a video that he created in JobPixel. I can WhatsApp you if you'd like to learn more about him. Or I have a video about the team, or a meet and greet, or I have a blog.
Which is by the way, I like don't get me wrong, I want every part of me wants to argue with you guys on this, but every other part of me says this is exactly what I do with my teams. We document everything's structured. If we want stuff, we've got it. It's ready to be WhatsApped. It's ready to be chatted to. The questions are all structured. So why can't it be taken by someone else?
Exactly. The other piece that shows you is logic. It understands logic. When I said I had more years of winter driving experience than driving experience, but that logic can be applied to any other question, so it's very hard to lie to the bot. The other piece I showed you was cross-selling. Like since you lead a recruiting business, I mean, you would love your team to cross-sell 100% of the time, because if someone's heads down trying to find reach truck especially drivers, but they can't find and they find someone who's perfect for the warehouse, and their mate is literally on the other side of the table in the other office. Usually they don't get up and say, yeah, I've got the perfect
I'm being convinced, right? Like how often, Darren, do you know your counterpart's role set?
Yeah, so I've spoken about this before. We don't in TA organizations, right. Most companies don't cross sell. In agencies, you cross sell because the candidate comes to you and you work with the jobs. You cross sell the jobs. But as an organization, you don't cross sell because you don't, like you just said, Chris, you don't know all the different jobs.
Yeah, I don't know every. I mean, you've got thousands.
You don't.
The AI knows every job in the system of records, and it knows every candidate and all the skills needed. And on top of that, so I have data on this for PostNL, who we screen 35,000 people for annually to hire 4,000 people. Again, at the rate, I won't mention prices because that would be a bit of an NDA breach, but very, very cost effectively. We cross sell 100% of the time. Every time we can, the bot does it. And 7 out of 10 times, the candidates are deemed fit for an alternative job accepted. Think about how much money that saves on advertising to find new candidates for these roles when you have so much more conversion.
Just to make this stuff a bit more interesting, I agree. It is mind-blowing. I'm sure there are challenges and bottlenecks and holes that your guys are working on. It's not going to be perfect, but I can totally see some stuff. I'd really love to just quickly, because I know we're running out of time, and I know, Darren, I don't know how much longer you've got here, but I really want to talk about just a little bit. Could you give us an idea of the research? Because that was one of the things that stuck with me on our prep call that you've done with the sentiment of folks on the other side of the fence. So what are candidates saying that, and I know you're going to tell me that they love it, but there must be some challenges in there. Like, what are you hearing with this?
Reiner, I'll let you talk about the Volker Wessels case, because that's an outbound cold calling case. But I'll speak to PostNL again, because that's where we have the data from. We run that sentiment tracking, and we get 5 out of 5 stars 47% of the time, and 4 to 5 stars 41% of the time. And then, yes, sometimes someone just doesn't like a bot or hangs up. But on average, the fact that people
they're trusting, they do trust it. They're trusting it.
Not only do they trust it, it consistently scores higher than the human sourcing team on NPS, because they don't have to wait. They apply at 7:45 in the morning, and 5 minutes later, they're scheduled in with a hiring manager. Yeah, think about it, how good that experience is for most of our target audience, especially in the high volume stuff. They aren't job searching, they're job shopping. They need a job quickly to pay the bills. So the company that does it in the smoothest, more efficient, quickest process, they usually get the biggest, recognition and NPS scores, and that's use this type
just before this is blue collar. We have examples on white collar that we're automating, but okay, that's I guess. But we in banking, for instance, where people were on averagely followed up the first time, other than an automated notification from an email, 27 days after the application. And if you want to know your customer or like that kind of professionals in your bank, placed in your role, and you take a month to talk to them, they're working somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which you consistently saw.
Your point is irrelevant whether it's better, significantly better, and can't be beaten unless you've got an absolutely ridiculously huge TA team, which no one has. So it cannot be beaten, and therefore it is better by proxy, regardless of whether it's AI or a human being at the end of that phone, because
you can take this
you can get to 20,000 people in 5 minutes, not 30 days.
Yeah. Exactly.
Extreme
case. That's
point.
what candidates appreciate, because they are accustomed to getting everything they need at the second they want it, whether it's music or products or holidays or whatever the heck it is, or a master class. Everything is there on demand except jobs. But hey, now they are. Right, and let's not even start about filling the skills gap and and actually cross-selling people from one point to another, which is also an option. I know we're running out of time, but I do want to show you a piece of magic that is actually even complex to do outside of an industry.
We're gonna have to make that the last thing before our final 2 questions.
Sure.
We'll have to do this again.
I promise.
I'm gonna mute, not gonna butt in, so that I don't spoil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll do a web demo now because it's quicker. I'll have.
Hello, I'm Scotty, a virtual assistant. Don't worry, you can talk to me as normally as you do with a human. I'm following your application for the Class A CDL driver position. Before we start, you can ask me anything you want to know about the job or the employer. Do you have any questions about the job right now?
No, I don't.
Great, let's start. This job requests ability to perform simple mathematical calculations. Are you able to do that?
Yes, I am.
That's great. How many years of tractor-trailer driving experience do you have?
10 years.
Those 10 years include winter driving experience? If so, how many years?
Yes, they do. 5 years.
Please tell me a bit more about how this experience looked like for you, and what cargo you transported.
I transported ridiculous quantities of Ben & Jerry's up in Vermont.
Noted. Last question. Do you have a Class A CDL?
Yes, I do.
Based on your answers, especially the 10 years of driving experience, you seem to be a perfect candidate. I will now put you through to one of our recruiters for the remainder of this interview. Is it okay for you to be handed over now?
Yes, please.
I'll then hand you over to one of our recruiters.
Now we have, how do you like our waiting music? I got the call here now. You will hear me on that demo phone in a sec. One sec. I'm going to
mute yours, maybe. Mute your screen here.
Hey, Stan. How's it going?
What's up, Reiner?
I'm getting the handover with your record here, and we're not hiring you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, man. I'll catch you later then.
Bye-bye.
Job. Or actually have Scotty do it.
That's great.
I mean, what that means, guys, is that you never, ever have to lose a top-notch A player anymore, especially if you're a global staffing business. You have a recruiter available in Outlook, which Scotty can see, 24/7 essentially, right? So if you have an A player, here the business rule was more than 6 years experience and then 5 years in driving. But Scotty would ask Reiner normally in Microsoft Teams, hey, are you available right now? Because I have something really special and you probably want to talk to this person.
Available,
Profile. And he was available because you could see it. Yeah, sure. Call me right now. We can do this in chat as well. So candidate can be on WhatsApp and Reiner can be typing in Teams. Or we can, stop the text conversation and make a phone call. That multimodality, the transferring, it looks simple. It's actually quite hard, and we've picked it from the contact center industry, but it can completely overhaul
No, I mean, I've been doing something like that on our website with our chatbot for many years. So we have the HubSpot chat where it's not a bot, it's me. So if anyone pings me on Slack, I chat, I can convert that to a call really quickly. That's a really comfortable process for a customer. Why can't it be for a candidate? So I am with you on
logical,
that.
Right? It's logical. Yeah. No one does it. There's literally not a tech. I bet if some competitors see this, they will start supporting it. Because it's so logical and it makes so much impact on candidate experience and it just, hiring outcomes.
All right.
Fascinating.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
We need to get you back again, guys.
Yeah, we're going to have to because we've broken our moral standing that these shows will not be demos, that we will house the demo separately. But for you guys, it's so game changing, like a new view of it. Like I like that you saying the end of the world as we know it. It is different. It's a completely different approach to it, and I like the arguments. I feel uncomfortable. And I'm going to immediately find a way to retrain. But it's and I really do think that I assume you get lots of pushback from customers and you're able to answer all that stuff, and I'm sure it's super interesting to unpack. We just want to make sure that we get our final 2 questions out that we ask everybody, and then what we're going to do is 100% for anyone who's listening to this, we're going to get you guys back on to do a more kind of like AI focused chat on the challenges that maybe you guys see and how you challenge it outside of Scotty stuff. Because I appreciate that the platform needs people for it to be a great demo anyway. So that's why we decided to take the track.
You should bring customers as well, mate. You should speak to some practitioners actually, and hear about their experience and how they went through the challenges of, implementing AI in their businesses. Because that's the hardest thing, the bell curve, purely the bell curve. Right now, we only deal with early adopters. But we're expecting that inflection point to come really quickly because once a small business starts undercutting the big businesses by 90% and offering a better experience as well at the same time, that's why they all have to come along, right? And anyway, over to your 2 questions. I know I'm a man of few words.
Question 1 we always ask folks is, what I mean, this is going to be a tough one for you to answer, but what other tools are you seeing in the TA and HR space that's really impressing you at the moment?
For me, it is easy, actually. I always, like my whole career, was extremely freaking skeptical about assessment tools. I thought they were kind of snake oilish. Honestly, I thought they were an excuse for the recruitment team to say, oh, look, we rejected all of these candidates because the tool said so, and that's why we focused on the best ones. And then suddenly experience metrics go up and also hiring quality goes up. But I thought, no, the hiring quality goes up because you're spending more time with people, which you should already be doing, because rejecting a bunch of them based on these, nonsensical type of little gamified, assessment. But now, actually, more recently, when I look at Vervo, Maki People, Bricks, the Selection Lab, these type of companies, it looks like they're really strong. Sapia, whoa, how can I forget Sapia? Sapia, it looks like these companies and the AI that they're using are actually becoming really strong predictors of long-term hiring success and retention. So I envision all of them actually operating on our AI orchestration platform, where Scotty, we will never touch their realm, but I would love to trigger these solutions and add them to our value proposition, because our combined value proposition
makes sense.
Completely obliterates. Yeah, the need for that middleman or woman in the middle.
A loaded answer, because it adds to you guys as well. But I get it. It's super impressive, and we'll make sure that we reach out to the folks that you mentioned there. Reiner, is there anything in your world that you're seeing that's really impressing you at the minute?
Yeah, very much. When we go AI specific, very often
doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be.
No, but it has to be. What I see is very often that people say like, yeah, but we have a chatbot or we have a voice bot, and why voice, for instance? That's a fair point from requirements perspective for me. But when I look at voice, there's incredible research being done and incredible technology development being done. Well, I won't drop a name because I'm still investigating them and I'd love to buy them. But there's a company doing voice fingerprinting.
Oh yeah.
And what they're doing is they can identify every voice from a certain subset of audio uniquely, absolutely 100% uniquely.
Wow.
Which will open, like 10x the use cases we could already have. They're able to detect, I think it was 60 illnesses from the sound of the voice after the first fingerprint. And while I don't want to go into healthcare, when I hear Sapia, when I hear what Stan just said, I'm sure there's a whole motherload of figuring out what humans want, why they want it, and that's going to be beneficial for HR talent acquisition, but it's going to be beneficial for every kind of interaction with the machine. So
love that. Love
voice fingerprinting. Go look for that.
Love it. Voice fingerprinting. We're gonna have to try and find some logos, or try and find the logo that you're talking about there. We'll find it.
They're not so important.
Our final question to you guys, and forgive me for it, but what is next for Scotty AI? Big one.
How long are we talking about?
As in, how long have you got to deliver the question, or time frame for what's next?
How long are we talking about in terms of how far in the head are we in the future are we looking? Like,
I mean, look, we've got this now. So, the immediate future is acquiring customers, keep testing, developing the product, right? So what's after that kind of initial bit? Where are you going to take it?
And for me, it's quite logical. We already have a really strong event product. We already have a really strong contact customer service product. We have a really strong, hospitality product. Ultimately, I'm on a mission to liberate people from work. I hope to contribute to that, like I said before. So who else do people really hate talking to besides recruiters? Maybe even more salespeople.
Traffic wardens
as well, but salespeople. I think if we're teaching Scotty how to sell itself quite literally right now. We try to remove the salesperson from the equation. Drink our own champagne. So hopefully someday I'll put a big number on a big screen at Dreamforce in San Francisco and say, that's the annual recurring revenue that I've driven without hiring a single salesperson by replacing recruiters, and now I'm coming after all your fucking jobs. Let's see. That will be my next, but we'll see, right? We're a startup, so we pivot. But if I have to say now, I think, replacing sales folks.
So it's a market pivots for you guys. It'll look like market pivots. It'll look like you looking at whatever role profile that can be replaced by your technology
platforms, marketplaces, all the middle stuff that creates friction because they're human in the middle, and we can do something more effectively.
Everywhere,
healthcare could be really interesting as well. But anyway, I'll let Reiner answer.
90% of once we can achieve 90% accuracy and coverage of the use cases that these people do, we enter. That's
love it. Well, that brings us to the end of this show. Me and Darren are going to have to take some notes, come back,
we're gonna have to book another show with you guys because it's been fascinating. And thank you so much for preparing that stuff for us. I really appreciate it and running us through. Thank you for joining us. Number one. And how can our listeners reach out to you guys if they're interested in getting a demo or speaking to you guys?
Man, connect on LinkedIn. I still like the personal connection. I'm super keen to connect with anyone that wants to chat AI and to chat the disruption of TA. If you want to do it through our website, that's obviously also an option. But I'm very open to connect with as many people as possible. Yeah.
Same.
Awesome. Well, that's it for the end of the show today. Thanks so much for coming on.
Massive thanks for having us. Thanks for what you guys are doing, actually pushing the envelope. I love the show. I love how you're elevating our industry. We're on the same mission. So let's make it happen. Thanks.
We're not going to have anyone left to come on after you guys are finished. It's just going to be the Scotty pod. It's just going to be the Scotty pod from now on. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys, later.
That's it for this week, guys. If you haven't subscribed already, it'd be stupid if you're not to. This is TA Tech Unboxed signing off.
Do it.